Hello, creative and darlingest friends. Today I'm walking you through 5 game-changing Procreate tools that will simplify your process, speed up your workflow, and totally transform how you create. And stick around because the last tool is worth the admission. It is a hidden gem that I personally use in every single project. Trust me, you do not want to miss it. Let's dive in. All right, the first one is quick shape. So this will create perfect shapes like circles, squares, even lines. You don't have to do anything to put this setting in place. It's a matter of just drawing, holding without lifting up. You'll have these nice clean lines, but if you want to create the perfect circle, while you're holding it down, you'll just hold your finger down and then you have this perfect circle that you can fill in, right? You can do the same thing with different types of shapes. So let's say you draw a square and then same thing, you can hold that down and it'll snap into place. You can do a rectangle, hold it down, it snaps into place, and then you can tap on here, you can change to rectangle, you can change to quadrilateral, which is going to change the way that these anchors work. So if I wanted a perfect square, I can adjust any of that. Rectangle, same thing. So this is really helpful, and then you can get out of that edit. And then the same thing goes for lines. So I can draw a line straight down, hold it down, and then I have this line I can work with. If you want to snap it so it's exactly vertical or horizontal, just tap, and then you can see it'll snap into place. 90 degrees. This is in 15-degree increments, so it makes it really easy. That's quick shape. Clipping masks are perfect for adding textures and gradients to your project without affecting the actual layer. So let's say you want to add a really cool texture or gradient effect, but you don't want it to spill over the edges, and you also don't want to do it directly on its true layer, and I'll tell you why in a minute. That is where clipping masks come in, okay? Clipping masks make sure that your texture only affects the part of your design that you want it to. And where it really shines is if you want to make changes to the texture but not the full object, that's where you can adjust your clipping mask layer and it won't touch the original layer underneath. Let's say you have a flattened layer or you have multiple things on the same layer and you just want to select something. Your selection tool comes in really handy, so that is this little ribbon right here. Now, the selection tool is more powerful than just being a selection because you can do an automatic selection, a freehand selection, rectangle, and a circle. And freehand is what I use most often. I don't really recommend automatic because it kind of creates some pixelation around the edges, but if you use freehand, make sure you're on the layer that you want, tap selection, and you can see I can just go right around the edges here. Now, if I close this selection by tapping where I started, you'll see this area is the focus, and then everything else has these little lines, and I'm not sure that's going to show up on camera quite right, but you're going to see that selection, and you'll see it's on add. That means that without doing anything, since I closed that connection, I can go in and I can grab another selection, close that, and continue. Now let's say I grabbed too much and I need to take some of it away. I will go to remove, and then whatever I select within that area is going to take it away from my selection. From your selection, you can do a lot of different things. You can move it around by tapping the arrow. You can copy it and paste it somewhere else. You can cut it. So while there are controls down here, my favorite thing to do is the 3-finger swipe down, and you'll see all of these copy and paste and also cut and paste options also duplicate. So selection tool is your friend. The next tool is using the Brush Studio. So this isn't just a tool, it is a full interface, but I'm going to show you some simple tweaks that is going to help you as you are creating whatever it is that you want to create when you're running into these issues. For example, let's say that your brush is up all the way, but you are not getting the thickest line. You want an even thicker line. Well, you can go in. I always duplicate when I make any changes, so I have the original. To do that, you're just gonna swipe to the left and say duplicate, and then go into the new copy. And you're gonna go down to properties, and you'll see maximum size. That is going to increase the maximum size that that brush can go. And the same goes for minimum size. This is really helpful. So I say done, you can see it's now much larger. So this was the original, and now I can get a much thicker line. The next thing that I want to talk about is pressure sensitivity, because that is one that I think we can all benefit from, which is going to change this taper. So when I press lightly, it's a nice thin line, and then you press more and it creates that thicker line. You may want this or you may not. To edit it, no matter what the brush, in your brush settings, it's going to be under Apple Pencil, and you'll see pressure and the size of the brush. So depending on the pressure, it'll change the size. If you want to bring that all the way down, you have a monoline, meaning there's no change to the line width with pressure. Okay, so that is where to edit that. You can do the same with opacity and flow, etc. Definitely recommend playing with the Brush Studio, but those are the two edits that are going to really help you when you're using a brush and you want to make those fine-tune edits without trying to find another brush that's going to work for you. This last one is your game changer. Are you ready? Okay, you may know this tool already, but if you don't, hello. You may have used this tool back in the day and then it disappeared, only it didn't. Well, it kind of did, but it's hiding now. So here's what it is. Let's say I'm on a layer and I want to change the color. Well, I can go to my color wheel and I can go to whatever color and then drag and drop, and I can see how that's going to change it. Another way to do this is to go to the adjustments and go to saturation, hue, saturation, brightness. You can change it this way and then make tweaks. But the biggest game changer is the Recolor tool. Let me show you what it does, and then I'll show you how to set it up. So when I go to Recolor, there's a little crosshair right here, and wherever that is hovering over, it's going to affect that layer. If it's not covering everything, you'll see there's a flood down here, so you can change that. In this case, it's just one big shape, but you can adjust your flood. But this is the best because you can adjust your color in live time. That means that you are going to see every little nuanced hue, every little nuanced shade to put in here and make it exactly the color that you want in live time. So you're not constantly tweaking or constantly dragging and dropping. Ready to set this up? Okay, here's how you do it. You need to activate it in your quick menu. So depending on how your quick menu comes up with gestures, that's where you can find it. So first, here's how to access your quick menu. Go to your preferences, go to gesture controls, quick menu, and you can choose exactly how you want to toggle that on. I have it to where if I tap that little square in between my brush size and opacity slider, if I tap that, it brings my quick menu up. And then you can see here, you're probably going to see no action a whole bunch if you have not used your quick menu. But otherwise, all you're going to need to do is tap and hold, find Recolor on here, tap it, it'll set it. So now, when we, let me take that away, when we invoke quick menu now, all I have to do is tap Recolor. It automatically comes up. Just make sure that crosshair is exactly over what you want to have the color apply to, and then go to town. These tools will completely level up your Procreate workflow, saving you so much time. Now, I'm curious if any of these are new to you. Let me know in the comments because it's totally validating when I know that I get to share something new with you. And don't forget, I've got a free mini course to help you jumpstart your Procreate skills. You can find the link in the description below. I have to say this, if you found this video helpful, it does help me if you click the like button, comment, subscribe, all those things. More creative tips and tutorials. And turn notifications on. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Thank you for watching. I will see you soon.